I have a little bit of a ramble for you today, and hopefully you will be able to relate because I love talking to fellow watch collectors that know histories and references and technologies and patents and histories and really everything related to the watch you're interested in. I think that these items that we love, these mechanical pieces of art that tell us the time, not even to a great degree of accuracy, unless you have a solar syncing module or a super quartz movement, they really are unnecessary, outdated, and luxury items, but they are so much fun. I have so much fun in this hobby, filming watches and photographing watches and talking about watches with fellow watch collectors. It is a passion more than it is a passive hobby, and that is part of the fun of it. And I have, really made some mistakes in this hobby over the years. I've had some great successes in this hobby over the years, but that's been part of the fun of it, the journey. And everybody is at a different place in their watch collecting journey. Some collectors, they've been around the block. They've had fashion watch days and micro brand days and German tool watch days and Rolex only days and vintage days and underrated days and high horology days or Holy Trinity days. I mean, the list could go on and on. And what I'm into right now, you may not even be interested in, and vice versa. And maybe what I'm into now, you will be into in 5 years. And maybe what you were into last year, I will be into next year. I mean, that's the fun of this hobby. It's ever changing. And we have decades and decades of history really to draw from and watches to buy if they have been preserved over that duration of time. Really, this hobby, horology and collecting watches is an absolute blast. And I'm really glad I've had so much experience over the past at least decade of being a hyper collector. So a couple things here I'd like your opinion on, especially if you disagree with me. I'd love to hear where you differ and why I am wrong. But I think that this hobby requires a good blend of logic and emotion. And admittedly, I sway more to the emotional, maybe more than the average collector. I think that there should be logic applied, like, hey, is this good? This watch that I'm considering good for my lifestyle and where I am at in life right now. Does this make sense from a collection standpoint and a fiscal standpoint? That's one thing that I am very passionate about. I always think you should be fiscally responsible, take care of all of your needs, all of your responsibilities. And if you have that discretionary income, then you can apply it to the more emotional and less logical and buy these silly pieces of jewelry that tell us the time, that are so much fun, that are mechanical marvels that incite emotion in us. So yes, I am more emotional than I am logical, but there does need to be a little bit of a balance there. And some may place more emphasis into the logical, like, hey, I want one brand, for this specific type of complication or this type of history. I want a vintage watch and a modern watch. I want a precious metal watch, a steel watch, a titanium watch. I want varied, pieces in my watch collection. I want varied price points and colors and complications and countries of origin. Or I only want to collect divers, or I'm only into Seiko, or I'm only into investing. I just want Rolex and Audemars Piguet and other hyped pieces from various high horology brands. We all have a different place in this hobby. We all place different emphasis on different things, and that's what makes it fun. So I'll leave you with one thing. I always say this to collectors that reach out to me and ask me my opinion on what they should do with buying and selling and trading. And I always say, hey, buy what you like or sell what you think you don't like as much. And, try to tune out the outside noise. Ultimately, don't place too much emphasis on what I think. It really should be what you think, because you're in this hobby for yourself. And if you are being a little bit more emotional than you are logical, and you're considering your needs, you're not collecting for anybody else, you're going to make fewer mistakes and you're going to have more fun in your collecting journey. Outside of one thing, I know some of us, and this is important to consider, some of us, when we buy a luxury watch purchase, we think about our posterity because we know eventually this watch will go down to our children or our grandchildren or a close friend or whatnot. And so, yeah, it's for us in the moment, but eventually it's not for us. And, we need to be cognizant of that. We need to have a plan for our collections, especially if they balloon in overall value over time. Maybe you collect for 40 years and you have an impressive collection that has a high monetary value. I think, like estate planning, there should definitely be planning in place for, how your watches will go down to, who you want them to go down to. There are a lot of factors at play. But that being said, let me know what you think about my little ramble today. Do you place more emphasis in the logical or the emotional? And how do you collect? How do you make decisions on what to buy next? And, all that's encompassed in that. I'd be interested in hearing your opinion. Thank you for watching today. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video and subscribe for more varied watch content. Thank you.